Okay, I'll start off, if I may, with a question. Pedro, could you talk a little bit about this idea that, for me, was very intriguing, of a blind screenwriter? ¿Cómo llegó esta idea para esta historia?
Bueno, yo la verdad es que muchas veces había fantaseado sobre la idea de un director que le faltara alguno de los sentidos y que esto le ocurriera en mitad de la película, y entonces el resto del equipo se vengara de él terminando la película, haciendo lo que les diera la gana, y que sin embargo eso se constituyera en un gran éxito.
The truth is, for a long time I had a fantasy about making a film about a director who, during the course of the film, lost one of his senses, and the crew, taking some vengeance out on the guy, would then finish the film the way they wanted, fooling him, whatever, but then the film would actually turn out to be a great success.
Eso sería bueno para la vanidad de nosotros, de los directores. Pero la idea de esta película nació de otra circunstancia.
Yeah, that would really be a film about the vanity of directors, but in fact the origin of this film came from somewhere else.
La verdad es que surgió de algo muy simple y muy directo. Durante unos meses yo padecí intensamente de migrañas. Entonces viví durante varias semanas en la oscuridad de mi habitación o del salón, pero en la oscuridad, porque a la migraña va incluida la fotofobia, etc.
The truth is, this film really comes from something much more simple and direct. I happened to suffer for a period of time from migraines, and because of that I had to spend a lot of times in dark parts of a room or dark parts of my house, because along with migraines comes a certain kind of photophobia, kind of suffering from getting too much light.
So, in the middle of the darkness, during weeks and weeks, then I start imagining something. It was a way like telling myself stories. And also when I discovered that even among the darkness and among the pain, the imagination works completely free. I mean, well, that imagination, you have to control it, because perhaps you want to suicide yourself, which is not the best solution. But also, I used it just to invent this immediate alter ego that was Mateo Blanco. But it was not, I mean, I didn't try to just like to write something, to work on. No, I was just, I mean, I have so much time that it was a way to fill the time with something. And then I thought about this immediate alter ego, and of course it was a blind director, because of the darkness that I was involved, I mean surrounded, and I did it just like for fun. And then I took some notes, and at the beginning, at the beginning this director, blind, was very sexually active, because perhaps it was the funniest thing for me at the moment. And the first sequences that I wrote, that I thought about, it was that this man physically is very good, and he does the same things that he did when he could see. I mean, it was he get up, he go to the kiosk, and he buy the newspaper. He doesn't read it, but it's an habit that he doesn't want to lose. And he goes to have the same place to have some coffee, and perhaps he talks with people. And usually, in the way to his place, he tries to, how do you say, ligar? To flirt, just with the girls, with the girl cuyo olor le gustaba.
Whose scent, perfume he enjoyed.
Realmente era una película pornográfica sobre un ciego y un montón de chicas.
It was actually a kind of pornographic film about a blind man and lots of girls.
Entonces siempre a las chicas en lo que hacía para ligar era you asked me about the origin of this. Perhaps would be better than the one I did. Se situaba, quiero decir, seguía a la chica cuyo olor le gustaba. Y la seguía hasta el paso de cebra.
And so what he would do is he would follow the woman who sent he liked best, and he would follow her just until he was about to kind of run into her.
Entonces, una vez en el paso de cebra, daba un movimiento suicida en un momento en que él sabía que no debía darlo, para que la chica reaccionara y le cogiera el brazo.
So what he would do is he'd get it right up to the edge of the curb, and at that moment when he knew that he would get into trouble or have an accident, at that moment this woman would grab him to stop him from having this accident.
Y empezaban a hablar. Entonces él decía, tenga cuidado. I mean, pay attention. I mean, always, the woman said. And usually, he said, well, I go with you when the green light will be. So usually the girl accompanied this blind man, and they are very close to his place. So usually he has the journal. He said, "Do you mind to get up to my apartment just to read me some articles?" And usually they say yes. And once there, as it happens in the movie, once up, then. Of course, la chica le mira de arriba abajo, porque yo creo que a los ciegos se les mira de un modo especial y a veces se les puede mirar de un modo obsceno.
Yeah. And of course, once they get upstairs, the young woman really looks at him from top to bottom, because in fact I think that there's a kind of special way that we look at blind people, a way that is almost a little bit obscene.
Eso aparece en la película. Ella directamente le mira a los genitales, etc. Y él nota el calor de su mirada en esa parte. Porque esas cosas se notan.
And you see this happen in the film too. For example, she looks at his genitals, and he's aware of that because they're aware when that's happening.
Bueno, no, él naturalmente hacen, and of course they make love and all that. And the story that at the beginning that I took away, that it was funny to imagine when I was lying in bed, it was that in front of his place there is an academy of models, and among them they are like the urban legend that in the neighborhood there is a blind man that is the great fucker in the world, and some of them sometimes when they are neighbors, when they go to the street, they fantasize just to meet these blind men, and of course many of them they found him, but he didn't know that in a way he was used by them. That was the origins. The movie is different just since the moment that I discovered that, well, what was the tone that I wanted for the story, and also when I link this character with a photograph that I took in Lanzarote like 9 or 8 years ago, because the photograph that is in the movie, it was mine. I did it, as I say, 8 years ago, and I was very, very intrigued by this photo. And I try to put it always in my movies, and I never did, because I always got the feeling that the photograph, like in Blow Up by Antonioni, there was a secret, a hidden secret in that photograph, and I always wanted to put it. Well, in this way, I discovered a way to relate this blind man, this blind writer, with that photo, and that was more or less the two things. They were the origin of Broken Embraces.
Penelope, it's been about a dozen years since you first worked with Pedro, I think. How has that relationship changed? How has he changed as a director? How has your working relationship with him changed?
Well, I was almost a little girl when I met him. I was 17, and then I was too young for the part that he was writing then. It was for Kika. and he told me he would write something in the future. He did. We worked together for the first time in Live Flesh, and of course he has changed, I have changed, our relationship has changed and is constantly changing. We've gone through a lot of years together, working together, and also with a strong friendship that we have. And that's why I cannot compare what I have with Pedro with working in any other movie, because I'm not just there working, I'm going through another almost life-changing adventures, and I can share it with somebody that has been so present in a lot of important times of my life, because I was a kid when I met him.
Does he continue to work with actors? Say, for example, when you made All About My Mother, would you say the working relationship that he had with the actors is pretty much the same that he had here in Broken Embraces?
Yes, I think because the first time I worked with him, we didn't do a lot of rehearsals, because the character that I play, we shot for 1 week. The beginning
that
of the
was in
movie,
Live Flesh.
For Live Flesh. And then All About My Mother, Volver, and Broken Embraces, it was a similar process of preparing the characters. He likes to do a lot of time of rehearsing, and I know when I start with him, we start, and we won't begin shooting until every department is ready, until everybody has found their characters. And that's gold for an actor, to know that you are in the hands of somebody that is also the producer of his own material, and that it gives you the freedom of just trying everything before you shoot. You know that you've had a couple of months or 3 months where you have had the opportunity to try that scene in so many different ways and to make all the mistakes. And it's very rare to find somebody that will give you that level of attention, and amount of time to find the character.
Great. Let's throw out some questions. Yes, over here.
I wanted to ask Penelope, it seems like in your last time with Pedro, you were sort of channeling Sophia Loren, and this time there is a very definite Audrey Hepburn feeling in the movie that you're starring in there. Can you talk about that, and also about the character's sexuality? Does she use her sexuality, as an actress to convince this man that she's in love with him when she hates him? And also, with the director, it's presented as a true love. Do you think it really is?
Let me just repeat the question for everybody. This viewer says that in the last film that Penelope Cruz worked on with Pedro Almadovar, she seemed to be channeling Sophia Loren, and this time this viewer felt she was channeling maybe Audrey Hepburn. And could you comment on that? And also, could you talk about, I guess, the actress's sexuality, how she uses it in a certain way to advance her own aims and whatever? And is her relationship with the director actually one of true love?
Si no te importa, if you don't mind, Penelope, I'm going to just to answer about Sophia Loren and Audrey Hepburn. This is always a small reference that for working is good to have. I mean, I never try to demonstrate that she is Sophia Loren or she can be Audrey Hepburn. What is amazing is that she can be both, but this is always a reference for hair, for makeup, or for the look of the character. And the rest is completely of her own artist. So anyway.
Yeah, and about your other question, I think she has to become a great actress in life, and she has to become a great manipulator, and she has learned how to do that very well, almost as a way to survive. I mean, she has had a very tough life, and she decides to almost enjoy every second of that manipulation when she can, because she's also living in a very dark space. She has no freedom. You only see what she really is a little bit when she's with the family at the beginning of the movie, and she's miserable because she has nothing really that gives her happiness in her life. And then at the end, when she falls in love with Mateo, and she has this little oasis, no, of hope and happiness, but it doesn't last very long. So she has been forced to, by life, to learn to be a good manipulator and to use every weapon that she has.
But you think it's true love then, when she this is a love that she
with Mateo?
Yes.
For sure, probably the love of her life, no? Yeah, I saw it like that, and since the moment I read the script. It's total honesty there. No, it's the opposite from the relationship she has with Jose Luis' character.
Yes.
A question for Pedro about the shot when Ernesto Jr. shows up at Mateo's apartment. Mateo goes down and looks, it would appear, through the keyhole. And it almost for a second made me rethink the whole film and the possibility that the blindness was not real. Could you talk a little bit about how that shot functioned for you?
Pues sí, el personaje de Ernesto Jr. llega a una hora sin anunciarse. Entonces digamos que por su propia seguridad Mateo no abre la casa si no está esperando a alguien. Y en ese momento no está esperando a nadie.
Okay. Well, Ernesto Jr. arrives without any kind of warning, so because of that, Mateo, for his own kind of safety and security, doesn't really open the door. If he doesn't know that someone's coming, he just keeps the door closed.
Pero lo que sí quiere es dar la impresión, como no espera a nadie, y además la voz que le responde, bueno, después no tampoco le conoce, quiere dar la impresión, no importa quién sea, quien está al otro lado de la puerta, de que él ve. Entonces, con toda intención, hace la mirilla, en español se dice mirilla, la mueve para que el otro lo oiga e incluso llega a mirar, fingiendo que está viendo, para que la otra persona piense que detrás hay un vidente, no, bueno, un vidente, una persona que ve, no un invidente. Y también porque Mateo es una persona, como diría, no truculenta, pero que es un guionista, entonces a veces adopta este tipo de actitudes un poco extravagantes. Y lo que fue interesante, y le dije a Rodrigo Prieto, era que cuando Mateo levanta la mirilla, que de pronto la luz entrara en su ojo, un ojo que paradójicamente no ve, pero que de este modo era más elocuente.
But so because he doesn't see, he doesn't want to give the impression to anybody who's outside the door that perhaps someone inside is blind. So he actually looks through the peephole, looks through there, pretending in a sense that the person behind the door is actually somebody who's sighted. He doesn't want him to let on that he can't really see. And it's not that Mateo, the screenwriter, is devious. It's just that, in a sense, this is the kind of protection he's created for himself. But what I told Rodrigo Prieto, the cinematographer, was that when he looks through, it was very important that a little shaft of light hit the eye, an eye, of course, that's blind and doesn't see, and that made that moment for me perhaps feel a little more eloquent. Yes?
There are many different expressions of love in this film.